At the local public pool, owner Grady is putting up a signboard to let the people know that the pool will remain closed for the holiday. Among them all, Bree enjoys swimming, but she takes a break when it is time for her to check her blood sugar level. Before jumping back into the pool, she wonders if she should take off her diamond ring. Meanwhile, in a small room, a worker called Carolyn is trying to steal cash from the stolen wallets, but Grady catches her red-handed. He immediately fires her, but she will still have to finish today's job. In the parking area, Bree's sister Jolene is sitting in her cab, wondering if she should join her sister or not. After lots of thinking, she decides to put her phone in the car and join her sister in the pool. Jolene has been in hospital for the last 5 years and the sisters haven't met for years, so Bree is happy they get to swim together again. But Jonah is in a bad mood because of her bad home situation, so she gets into an argument with kids running around the pool. But Bree convinces her to let go of the matter and have fun. The rest of the time goes well for the sisters. While they are enjoying their time in the pool, McGrady tells them it is time to leave. When Jolene points out the pool is supposed to be open until 8, Grady explains they are closing earlier for the holiday weekend. As they dry themselves off from the pool, Bree tries to show Jolene her ring, but she can't find it in her handbag. Everyone else has already left the pool and Grady tells the sisters to speed up, but they ignore him completely. Jolene checks the deep water and notices that the diamond ring is stuck in the steel grill, so Bree dives back in to get it out. Inside she tries to pull it as hard as she can, yet she can't take it out, so Jolene also jumps inside to help her sister. At that moment Grady takes one last look at the pool area and sees nobody inside, so he starts closing up the sheet. While they are still struggling with the stuck ring, Jolene's hair gets stuck too in the process, causing the sisters to concentrate on her hair and not notice the fiberglass lead slowly covering the pool. By the time they swim upwards it is too late, so now they are trapped inside the deep pool. Panicking, the sisters shouted for help as they hit the pool fiber cover, but unfortunately, Grady had left the place. After discussing what to do, Jolene starts feeling a bit stressed and freaks out when she accepts the fact that Grady left them here in revenge. Bree relaxes her down and they swim to the middle of the pool to try to break up the cover, but it is made of solid fiber and won't even crack a little. Bree's next idea is to check all the edges and seals to find any weak spots in the cover, but there is nothing except for a piece of swimming shirt. Eventually, they realize the cover has a small hole, but it won't break either, so Bree goes to remove the sharp plastic piece from a hole in the pool wall. By breaking it into pieces, she creates a sharp tool that can fit through the hole to try to saw it open. While Bree works on the fiber sheet, Jolene continues to complain about her past life. Jolene can't stand that Bree left her alone in the hospital, and now Bree thinks Jolene threw the ring into the pool out of jealousy and fear. An angry Bree dives back in and finally gets the ring out of the steel bar while Jolene takes over the sawing blade only to accidentally cut her finger. Bree comes back and points out that the steel bar could be heavy enough to break the fiber sheet above them, but she isn't strong enough to take it off alone. Jolene refuses to help her out, but before they talk further, they hear a noise. Suddenly, it turns out Bree's phone is vibrating with a call from her fiancé David, who leaves a voice note saying he will be attending a meeting dinner so he will get home late. Now they feel they can't depend on her fiancé either. Desperate, Bree dives in again and tries to take off the steel bar, but it doesn't work as planned. Hours pass by and as night falls outside, the lights go out in the streets and the pool building. Bree can hear her phone ringing with David's calls and Jolene keeps on arguing, this time about how she is annoyed by David. Suddenly Jolene notices Bree is not doing well and asks what's the issue, causing Bree to accept she was diagnosed with cancer while Jolene was in hospital. She needs to take her insulin shot soon or she may fall into a coma. Other side, Carolyn returns to the pool to finish her pending task. Meanwhile, the sisters are busy sawing the hole bigger. Jolene looks at the burnt red marks on Bree's arm and wants to discuss what really happened the day their father died because she doesn't remember anything. Bree tries not to answer the question but ends up telling their dad a beast and explains what tragedy happened. That night their father came home fully drunk and lit a cigar before passing out on bed. The cigar fell on his bed and started the fire, but he never woke up because he was unconscious. He couldn't even tell he was burning badly. Bree tried waking him up, only to get her hand burned. At that moment Carolyn enters the pool room and hears Bree's phone vibrating. When she comes closer to steal it, she hears the girls asking for help and deliberately asks her a few questions to buy time to empty Bree's handbag. However, she put down the bag when she noticed the cameras were working. Carolyn goes to the main room to turn the security cameras off and on the lights back, then she asks Bree for her phone's security lock, claiming she just wants to dial 911. Bree gives her the code but instead of calling 911, Carolyn begins playing David's voice note. Jolene begins yelling and insulting her. Furious, Carolyn then explains her financial situation. After being in the prison cell, she had trouble finding any job and she really needed cash, so she would rescue the sisters if Bree gave her the ATM pin. Bree refuses to tell her, so Carolyn turns off the heater and light, threatening to let them die in freezing pool water. Feeling panic, Bree finally tells her the pin and Carolyn leaves with her handbag. She also doesn't turn on the heater. So the sisters try to cuddle as a gesture of their last hug. 2 hours pass by and Bree's body is aching badly because of the cold water. Jolene thinks she has to try to recover the steel bar and dives back in. But when she resurfaces again, she discovers Bree has fallen unconscious, so she rushes to wake her up in her senses. Jolene again breaks into tears but Bree assures her not to worry. Rather, Bree insists they should talk about their issues, so Jolene confesses she is all guilty, which is why she tries to attempt a self-cut. She explains how to date she feels afraid and terror about her father's abusive behavior. Jolene confesses their father's voice never left her mind a single day. Suddenly the sisters hear someone approaching the pool, but it is just Carolyn. She is very furious because Bree only has $5 in her account and starts criticizing the girl. Then she says she may leave them there to die alone and goes to the security room. On the other, Jolene sharpens the plastic piece and starts pretending she is having a panic attack. She cries hard and apologizes to Carolyn and claims to have some important information to share, talking in a very low voice to make Carolyn come closer to the hole. Soon Carolyn bends her head down to the hole and Jolene stabs her with the blade. Carolyn shouted in pain and rushed to the restroom to check on her bleeding while, angrily, in revenge she turns on the pool's automatic chlorine cleaning system, which causes the girls to start suffocating. They try to block the filter with their hands, but the jets are too strong and push them back into the water. Suddenly Bree loses consciousness and starts drowning, so Jolene holds her up until she is awake. Soon it becomes harder to breathe and the girl yells at Carolyn that she is killing them, which finally makes Carolyn turn off the cleaning system. Afterward, Carolyn asks for Bree's diamond ring in exchange for their life. Despite Jolene's protests, Bree gives Carolyn the ring, but Carolyn doesn't let them out. She turns the lights off again and says she will do so when she is ready. Hours later, the pool cover is finally seen moving and Bree can hear car horns outside. David enters inside to save her but is afraid when he can't see Jolene, so he thinks she must be sinking. Then Bree suddenly woke up and realized it was all a night dream. Then she calls on her sister and discovers Jolene is using the plastic shard to cut her veins. Soon Bree manages to talk her out and promising it will never leave her alone again. Then both sisters apologize to each other. Meanwhile, Carolyn is checking on the ring while Bree's phone continues to ring up with David's voicemail of calling 911. In fear, Carolyn returns to the pool. The sisters pretend that Carolyn is not guilty and apologize for calling her a devil. Carolyn cries and goes to the security room to put in the code, however, it doesn't work because of an electrical fault. In fear, she tells the sisters the bad news but refuses to call 911 because she is afraid of going back to her prison cell. Carolyn leaves Bree's handbag on the desk and leaves the place. Hours continue to pass and Jolene keeps on swimming to keep her body warm and active. However, Bree is growing very dizzy and when Jolene comes to check on her, Bree feels so weak that she makes a big confession. She wanted to do something as she always knew what their father did to Jolene and was disgusted by it. The night of the fire their dad had actually been awake and in silence and tried to move, but Bree held him down to a pillow so he would burn to death and the girls would finally be free from his deadly monstrous father. Hearted by the gesture, Jolene decides she must try harder for her sister, so she leaves her resting on the rope and again dives into work on the steel bars. After a few failed trials, Jolene gets an idea. She takes the swimming trunks and wraps them around the bars, which allows her to grab them properly. The bars slowly start to move and after lots of tries, Jolene finally takes it off and in a hurry takes it to the surface. Soon she discovers Bree falls unconscious. Jolene rushes to give her sister a heart pump and thankfully manages to wake her up. Afterward, Jolene uses the bars to hit the fiber cover on the small area and it soon starts cracking until it finally breaks in pieces. While in a rush to create a bigger hole, Jolene gets hurt when she inserts her arm to break the sheet. Next, Bree is again unconscious and Jolene pushes Bree out of the water, and once they are finally out of the water, she rushes to Bree's handbag to get her insulin. Bree wakes up after Jolene injects it into Bree's leg. At that moment Carolyn returns and points a handgun at them because she is afraid the sisters will put her behind bars by telling police about her. Jolene requests her by telling Bree to be the only one left in this world. So Carolyn lowers the gun and hands them back the diamond. Then Jolene uses Bree's phone to call the police and tells Carolyn to leave the pool before they arrive. Later, Bree wakes up in the hospital.
Subscribe to Universal Recaps and turn on notifications for regular updates. Give a thumbs up if you like our content.